Welcome to the live premiere. A brand new character for a request. This isn't a leak, there's no announcements. I just wanted to get that out right now. And this character is from Winx Club, a series that I grew up watching, and it's awesome to see others out there remember this series and included it for my request. Well, my character request series for a moveset. So it's all about Winx Club today, and we're gonna get into the moveset, the character, the costume, and talk about the costumes, all that stuff, and talk about how this character can play, the story. And if you have not seen Winx Club before, we're gonna get into it in just a little bit. I might have to mute the microphone for, at times throughout the video. I might, just in case my phone ends up going off. But it's a live premiere for a reason. So everyone can react to the character how you see fit. If you have not seen this show, you'll be able to get to know Roxy's story and what the Winx Club is all about. And you can also watch the Winx Club free here on YouTube if you haven't already known that already, and you can check out a little bit of the show. But what I'm going to be focusing on is season 4 in particular, because Roxy debuts and is introduced into this series, or into the show. We finally get to see Roxy in season 4, where she's first introduced to the series, and we get to see her grow, develop her powers, and really try to see what she's all about and get to know her story. So I'm going to be talking about that throughout this premiere, and the timestamps are going to be listed in the description, or it might show up in the timestamps are going to be will be able to pop up by the time this video ends. And I'm also going to have a video towards Bloom, who is the main character of this show, that I'm going to be talking about as well in this video. But we're going to get into all things Roxy and Winx Club in just a few seconds. But the other thing I want to mention is that her moveset is going to probably be in the comments, so people can really read all the ideas I came up for her and for this particular request out there. So everybody has a chance to get the request, and it's not the same show, it's not the same person taking all the character spots and things like that. These take time to put together, and they're not just made up. Sure, they're just from me, but I like putting the effort and the creativity with the moveset and trying to make it relative to the show, and also connect it to the character's personality so it fits what the character does from the show and what they're capable of, so the moveset makes sense. So we're gonna get into Winx Club and talk about this show. Now, for starters, if you have not seen this show, I'm gonna get into it and just talk about what it's about if you guys haven't seen Winx Club before. So this show used to be on Nickelodeon. It's not airing on Nickelodeon anymore, but I don't know who owns the rights for this show. Things change and things like that, and just from sharing the little information about the show, it premiered back in 2004. So I grew up watching this show from Saturday morning cartoons, from Jackie Chan Adventures, Shaolin Showdown, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Static Shock, just all these different shows I was watching. Kids WB20, and Foxbox with Kirby right back at you, that would come on. Ultimate Muscle and Shaman King. I was watching TMNT 2003 at the time when I was watching Winx Club. TMNT 2003, which is one of my favorite series from the TMNT era, or favorite TMNT era from the 2003. I was watching that alongside of Winx Club and many other shows that I just mentioned. So this brings back so much memory. So another thing I'll share, I didn't even finish season 2 or 3, but this particular character wasn't really around like that and didn't debut until season 4. And with this particular character, she has her own powers, and she was the 7th member of the Winx Club. So we're gonna start getting into her, but let's talk about a little bit of the series of the show. So this series is set in a magical universe inhabited by fairies, witches, and other mythical creatures, and tells the story of Bloom, who is also a character that I also made a moveset for a while ago, way before Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 existed. So let's just bring up the roster. So it's a big question. What's going to be the future? What does the future hold? What does the future look like when it comes to the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl series? Maybe we'll see a third game, and it's more than likely it's probably going to be something that they'll end up doing in the near future, maybe the year next year, or maybe the year after. So we'll just have to see what happens. But what this series is about with the Winx Club, if you haven't seen it. So what I mentioned is it's about a magical universe inhabited by fairies, witches, and other mythical creatures, and it tells the story of Bloom, who's the main character. She's from planet Earth, who discovers she's a fairy. And it's also the same situation when it comes to Roxy, because Roxy is another Earth fairy, just like Bloom. So their stories are almost similar, but with Bloom, she accepted her fate a lot quicker, and her destiny being a fairy way a lot faster in comparison to Roxy, who was scared. She didn't know her potential. She didn't even know that she was a fairy at all, and she didn't believe in fairies whatsoever. So with Bloom, she befriends 4 other fairies and forms a group called the Winx Club. That's what the Winx Club is basically in a nutshell. So the Winx Club are these fairies. They each have their own individual powers. Bloom has the power of the dragon fire, for example, who's the main character, who I also want to see join this game if it does happen. So Bloom fights alongside the Winx Club, fighting a long series of enemies threatening the magic dimension. So in the process with Roxy's story, in Roxy's case, she's taking on the Wizards of the Black Circle, who are fairy hunters who are hunting her down. So we're going to start getting into that in just a little bit, but I'm going to just try to adjust my microphone settings just real quick, just for a quick second. Sorry about that, but we're back on here. Hopefully everyone can hear. Hopefully everybody can still hear, so I'll be able to play this back and make sure. But that was the story of the Winx Club, or just the plot of the show. But now we're gonna get into Roxy's backstory, because since these different enemies and these hunters, these fairy hunters known as the Wizards of the Black Circle, who are the fairy hunters hunting the fairies, and their mission was to destroy the fairies and try to take over this magical realm. So Roxy, with her story, Roxy is the fairy of animals and daughter of Morgana, the former queen of the Earth Fairies. So this makes Roxy a terrestrial fairy and a princess of Tirnan-Og. Tirnan-Og is the fairy realm. That's the name of the main fairy realm in which the Wizards of the Black Circle was trying to get access to. So Roxy has had this hidden power to bond with all animals, to read their thoughts and emotions. Roxy was the key, and the final key, to Tirnan-Og, to the fairy realm, so she had to be protected. So we're going to start getting into that, talking about the story. So Roxy is introduced in the 4th season and is the 7th member of the Winx. So Bloom, who we just mentioned, who's the main character, who is also an Earth Fairy. Bloom was the one who told Roxy who she really is, to help her realize her powers as a fairy, because she's not a normal human being. She's not some normal girl. So the Wizards of the Black Circle, who are the fairy hunters that I just mentioned, their mission was to focus on capturing Roxy, because she was the key to Tirnan-Og, to the fairy realm that they were trying to get access to. So the Wizards of the Black Circle are 4 wizards known as Ogron, Anagon, and Gantlos, and Dumon. I think I probably butchered 2 of their names. So Ogron, Anagon, Gantlos, and Dumon. So in the beginning, Roxy was too scared to be a fairy. She didn't believe in fairies or herself, and she couldn't trust herself. It took time for her to unlock her potential as a fairy. So with Bloom, see how their stories kind of connect and they align with each other. It's different because Bloom was so quick to accept her destiny and accept her ability and powers and tap into her potential. It took a lot longer for Roxy. So Bloom decided to so it so Bloom decided to be friends, defend and help Roxy control her powers. So being able to witness her transformation for the first time for Roxy, this was awesome. And I think this is one of the best parts of season 4, if not the greatest, one of the most iconic moments of the show from the series all along. So it's completely different for Roxy because she was scared. She was just crying and whining. She didn't even want to surround herself with Bloom. She didn't want to be around the fairies at all. She didn't believe in fairies. She didn't believe in magic or anything like that. But she just didn't know what she was capable of. And she thought that all the animals just liked her. But she was able to bond with them because that was part of her hidden power and potential. She could really be able to understand the animals and can tell how they could feel, and she could read their every thought, their emotions, and she was even able to track them down. So being able to witness Roxy just transform for the first time when R2, who's Roxy's pet loyal dog, was knocked out by the Black Circle was one of the best moments. And you can look this up now. You can watch it for free here on YouTube, and you can watch and really see her grow throughout season 4. But that was her only spotlight, unfortunately. So we're gonna get into that in a little bit. So Roxy had her own connection to the Earth Fairies. Her connection to the Earth Fairies was significant as she was able to control the White Circle, a powerful artifact and key to the Earth Fairies realm of Tirnaan. So the White Circle also greatly enhances her powers that you guys will be able to witness throughout season 4. So the White Circle is linked to Roxy and her heritage as the last terrestrial fairy, the last fairy on Earth, or the last Earth fairy. So it helps her connect with the history and the power of the Earth Fairies. So Tirnaan, which is the realm where the Earth Fairies were imprisoned by the Wizards of the Black Circle. So that was the duty of the Winx Club, and Roxy was a key that they needed. That's why Bloom and all the other fairies and other members of the Winx Club was trying to get her. They were I wouldn't say they're hunting her down like the fairies were, like the Wizards of the Black Circle were from the actual fairy hunters. Bloom and the other Winx Club members were trying to protect her and trying to look out for Roxy and try to get her to accept her destiny and tap into her powers, because she was being hunted down by the Wizards of the Black Circle, and they were trying to really capture her and use and take advantage of Roxy to open up this realm, because she was the final key and she possessed the White Circle, as the wizards were actually shocked because they didn't know that she was able to obtain and control that kind of power. And with that kind of power, they were going to try to really be able to take advantage of her and use her for their own advantages and be able to destroy Bloom and the other fairies. So a little bit more about Roxy's ability. Roxy's powers extend beyond just controlling and communicating with animals. Okay, sorry about that. Hopefully everybody can hear. See, that's why I knew I would probably have to mute the microphone at some points. But we're gonna keep it rolling. Well, more about Roxy's ability. I'm also gonna probably make a timestamp so it's not just that silence, so people could be able to continue on with the video for those who want to listen to it. So more of Roxy's ability. So Roxy's powers extend beyond just controlling and communicating with animals. She can also give animals the ability to speak, lend them magical strength, and track them down. And that's what makes her really special and being a part of this animal kingdom. She's the fairy of the animal kingdom. The fairy of the animal kingdom. She's the last fairy of the earth, so she can really be able to tap into her power and use the power of the animals, and the animals can come to her aid during any sort of fight, while she's also able to use her own fairy magic. So let's get into what happened to her, because I ended up finding this out from doing research. So I apologize for just like the interruptions for the random silence, but it's a live premiere for a reason. Plus I didn't want to start all over and just lose my train of thought. But what happened to Roxy? And this was major news for me, so I wanted to spill it and talk about it during this request so people can find out more about this character. So the 4th season built Roxy up as a future main character, from what I found out from doing some research and watching this series, becoming the 7th Winx member, only to end up being sidelined afterwards. So she wasn't a main character like Bloom. She wasn't going to probably take Bloom's spot, but she was going to get more of a spotlight and be involved in the fights. But from watching season 4, you can only just see a little bit of a glimpse of what she can do in the fights, because you really get to see her evolve and tap into her power, get angry and get really strong, and really be able to attain this white circle that has a lot of power. And that's what really shocked the Wizards of the Black Circle, but that's what made them want to capture her and hunt her down and make her a full-on target. So Roxy seemed to only be used majority during this season for season 4, and was forgotten and thrown away. Unfortunately, it seems like she ended up becoming a side character for the most part and being a support character. So she wasn't really getting involved into the fights. She was just being someone that was supporting the Winx. So it's as if she didn't really feel like the 7th member of the Winx. She didn't really feel like a full-on developed character, because she wasn't really able to really unlock her other different transformations, because she only was stuck with the Believe It's, which is only one particular transformation that she was only able to have, and you only get to witness in the show for seasons 5, 6, and beyond, because this show had 8 seasons. From doing the research and digging it up, this show had 8 seasons, and Roxy was just a support character. She only gets her spotlight in this individual season. It almost sounds like a Misty situation when it comes to, My Life as a Teenage Robot. It's almost something similar to that, but it's completely different for Roxy, because she had way more episodes than Misty. It's just an example. Another character that was just forgotten about, that was scrapped and kicked to the curb. It's just ridiculous to see this and find this out. And all the power that Roxy had, it makes you root for her when you see her really finally unlock her potential, especially what they did to R2, her dog. She got so angry, she was able to really just unleash all her power. So it's unfortunate, because she ended up becoming a side character, and from watching this particular season, I like seeing Roxy improve, grow, believe, and understand her own powers. So to be able to use her powers to help the Winx and be able to get her own spotlight for this season, but this shine was it didn't last long. This shine was quickly taken away from her. Her spotlight, she was just swept under the rug. She was thrown under the bus. She didn't really get a chance to really shine on. She didn't really get a chance to evolve and unlock more of her powers and really get those other transformations that the other Winx Club members have. So this was really sad to really find out about her, but watching this season, I have no regrets, and just really wanting to see this character also get involved into the brawl and get involved into the battlefield. It would be awesome to see. It's like, why even bring in a new face, build them up, only to shoot them down right away? This was something I never knew of until I did some research to find out what happened to Roxy, because I was trying to find out what else does she do in this show? What else does she do within the upcoming seasons? She didn't really get that kind of a spotlight. She was just there. So I was just trying to find out what direction did this character go after season 4. She didn't get anywhere. They just they just kicked her to the curb. She didn't really get that spotlight like I was hoping she would. And just seeing this character, I didn't even know. She'll be able to go up, and Roxy will be able to go up against Aang, who's the avatar with all these elemental powers. It'll be awesome to see Roxy versus Aang, Jinny, and other characters that's in this game that contain all types of different powers, like Danny Phantom, for example. So it just makes you want to see this character get involved, and hopefully someone from the Winx Club gets picked up. But this is just the backstory. So it was just that major question of just trying to find out what happened to this character. She didn't really have a future when it comes to being represented in the show. She was done dirty, and some of the Roxy fans out there, several of them, were talking about this and making videos talking about this character, of how strong she is and how she deserves so much more. She deserved better representation and deserved more of a spotlight to really feel like a Winx Club member. It seems like, just from watching this, I'm just letting this out, from watching this season, it just seems like they were trying to do something with this character. They had an idea and they just gave up on her, and they just went right back to Bloom. No offense to her, Bloom is the main character of the show. She's the main character, and she's also an Earth Fairy just like Roxy. But how come Roxy couldn't get that same sort of spotlight like Bloom? Because Bloom and Roxy are both Earth Fairies. You gotta make it make sense. So she deserves to get some kind of additional spotlight. So I wanted to see that, but we just didn't get to see that for the future seasons, all the way through season 8, of course, because they just made her a support character. She wasn't really involved like that, so she wasn't really getting that camera time. And the only reason why she was getting that kind of spotlight was because of season 4 with her, which was her debut, and just seeing her become this important. She was so important to the fairies, and she played an iconic role, an important role in that matter, having this, being the last fairy, the last Earth Fairy. And it just was scrapped. She was thrown under the bus and just kicked to the sideline, and she has all this power, even helping out the fairies and helping out the other Winx Club members. So she stood out. So that's her backstory. That's the plot I just wanted to get into. That's just everything that I ended up finding out about this character from watching the season 4 in full, and also doing the research to try to find out, does she even get to do anything additionally? You don't really get a chance to really see her in action like that now. So beyond season 4 or post season 4, there's no more Roxy. Roxy doesn't even really get a chance to get that shine anymore. It's as if she ceased to exist. But now it's time for the stages I want to get into for this character request, and I'm not trying to make this too long. Hopefully I won't have any more surprise interruptions, or surprise if my phone ends up going off. But I want to keep this rolling so I can get this all out in time. So the stages I want to get into, they have some nice stages for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, but we could have had a lot more stages, don't you guys think? As I always mention. But the closest thing to this stage that I want to probably reference, let me see, I would say the City Aquarium, because it's the fruity music bar, but it has something with just the palm tree and things like that on the inside, just from the building itself. This could be the stage that I selected, the fruity music bar. Other Winx Club characters like Bloom, Stella, and Flora, and other specialists who also look out for the fairies, can be visible in the background as an idea, cheering or reacting to the fight. So the fruity music bar is where Roxy worked at when she was just a normal human being without her fairy powers. But she already had her powers, but she just didn't know she just didn't know it yet. So this was Roxy's home and her workplace. and it's where the Winx Club is usually at and hanging out at during most of season 4. This makes this stage even more of an iconic setting for her character. Plus, I can imagine all the lights and the layout when you watch season 4. All the lights and the layout of the main dance floor where they have a stage performance and things like that with karaoke, drinks and things like that. This stage is going to look really nice. And just take a look at these stages that we have in the game. They already are well done. They're already well made, and there's other different stage variations that they even expanded with all the different things that they have. So just with the food, drinks, with all that stuff, it just makes you just excited to see more stages for this game. But we're not gonna get any more stages, unfortunately. So that's the stage that I selected with for Roxy for her DLC if she ever ends up getting in for the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl series. So we're gonna get into the costumes, and the one thing I want to bring up is that every single character that you guys can see has their own unique costumes, from Raphael, Donatello. They have way more different costumes and different hairstyles, and they really put in a lot of effort into this game when it comes to the costumes. So it's not just one particular costume and that's it. There's plenty more that they offer instead of just a hat. They have a completely different look. So we're gonna get into the costumes for Roxy. So see, they have so many good ones. So they have a lot that they can bring in. So we'll just let's have Evil Danny Phantom on the screen, just for a little example, because it just shows you all the different things that they could do for this game, and all the creativity is there. So for costumes, for her normal skin, being a rookie fairy, because she didn't have everything figured out. For her Believe It's outfit, this is her iconic fairy form from season 4 that features a green sleeveless top that you guys see from the thumbnail, and a pink skirt, pink boots, and she also has a fairy-like cape and butterfly wings. So that's going to be her normal outfit. But her alternate skins that I came up with to select is Earth Fairy to start this off. Roxy wears a fuchsia t-shirt with a footprint design along with her long sleeve green shirt underneath. Also wears jeans with chains and a pair of fuchsia boots. So I think this could be like a cool little alternate costume with her normal outfit. So she has a deep connection to the earth, so I think she could rock this with her wings. That'll be a nice cool little design. So she could be a fairy in her own with her normal attire, just from season 4. So it's not really much of anything that you can really be able to see, besides these other additional outfits. So this is all from season 4. So her next costume is the formal dress. Roxy wears this dress that she wears for a dance in the series, and it's a long elegant pink gown with a leafy green color. So it's worn when the Winx and Roxy are interviewed by a TV crew, and their growing popularity in Gardenia is highlighted. So this is from the Perfect Number episode from season 4, episode 14. So y'all can watch these episodes free without any sort of subscription. You can watch it here on YouTube free and check out these episodes. The next one is Western Roxy, which was a disguise, where she wears a turquoise green and light brown blouse decorated with stars, yellow shorts, long boots that are blue and brown. So this is from episode 8 from season 4, called The White Circle. And this is where you can also see her get access and be able to obtain the White Circle and get her powers. So her next alternate costume that I added was her Fruit Music Bar waiter outfit, where she works at the Fruit Music Bar. She wears a white shirt with a purple tie and a sash, purple skirt with a pink belt, long fuchsia stockings, and purple shoes. So this is from season 4, episode 7. So you guys can check these outfits out and see for yourself, and really watch and see how Roxy develops her power throughout season 4. So those are the costumes and the stages. Now we're going to start getting into the taunts and animations. So it's different because I like how every character has their unique taunts and little animations. See, Iroh being our final DLC character, they all have their different animations. even with characters like Azula with the power of elements and Korra, they all have their different animations and they're unique. So with the taunts, I came up with for a taunt for the first taunt that I came up with was called Fairy Animals. So Roxy can hold her hand out and a bird or a rabbit can appear in a puff of green light. And they can land on her hand or shoulder and then disappear. So she could say, like a little bit of some dialogue that I came up with for some ideas. The animal kingdom is with me, so she can be able to bring out some of the animals to bring to her side. So it'll fit her animations because she has the power of the animal kingdom. Her next taunt, Fairy Flourish, where Roxy can spread her wings and give them a couple flaps with her green sparkles around her. So and she can just strike like a cool little pose because this fits her fairy style, and she's the newest fairy from this well, not the kingdom, but she's the newest fairy from the Winx Club. So this would be something that can fit her, and Bloom can also do something similar if she ends up getting into the game, which she probably will most likely end up getting picked up. But some of these characters have different taunts from the show, so I wanted to make these taunts connect with what she can do from the show itself, from her style. And then the last taunt I came up with was the key of Tir Na, which is the name of the fairy realm. The white circle can flash, so she can bring out the white circle since she's the final key of Tir Na, or the final key of the fairy realm, or this realm. She can bring out the white circle and it can flash with a glowing light while it hovers around her palm, and a surge of energy can pulse right through her, making her glow before the white circle disappears. So a little bit of dialogue when she brings it out for her white circle. The power of the earth fairies is mine. She can say something like that. So it fits her power, it fits her connection to the earth fairies in the animal kingdom. Now we're going to start getting into the winning and losing animations. So her winning animation, being the last earth fairy, she could say, I believe, when she could strike her pose. Because I like, every character has like, I think they have two or three, I think 2 different winning animations depending on which character you play. Like even for Danny Phantom, he'll just run up on the screen, and then his other winning animation, he brings out the fencing thermos and does it spins on his index finger as a cool little trick and a pose. So each character has more than one winning animation in this game. So I think this one would fit her the most. And she could say, I believe in fairies, and because I do, I'm a fairy. So Roxy can strike a heroic pose with a variety of small animals. In Roxy, well, it's not Roxy, but Rocco, he has Spunky come out. Spunky comes out during his winning animation. So he's part of his victory animations or winning animations in this game. So, and then the Angry Beavers dancing together. So it's just all unique animations. This could be something that can fit her. So she can bring out a variety of small animals like squirrels, bunnies, and birds cheering around her in a circle, and her trusty loyal dog, her trusty loyal pet dog, R2, can run up and sit happily at her side. See how Spunky's part of Rocco's winning animation? Why not dogs like R2, who has his own strength? We're going to be getting into him later on for part of his moveset. Well, part of his moves, because I put R2 and Roxy's moves. So R2 could be a part of the winning animation as well, and a green aura can surround her, symbolizing her power and her connection to the animals, being the animal fairy, or the fairy of animals. Her losing animations, so I didn't want to have her crying, just being all basic, because some of these characters do the same thing. Roxy can look sad and defeated. Her fairy wings and outfit can revert to her normal clothes, while her dog R2 is beside her, also looking down and trying to comfort Roxy after losing the battle. They could have did something like that for Rocco's losing animation. So I'm surprised they didn't do something like that, since he's a dog owner himself. That's why I kept it on here. So he has his own little animations with him, but he only brings Spunky out for his winning animation. So those were the animations and taunts that I came up with, and if you missed one, If you miss one of the taunts, those are also going to be listed in the description, maybe potentially in the pinned comment if I just in case I run out of room, or if I want to just, you know, move them into the pinned comments. So those are the taunts and Winnie anime and the taunts and animations, and we talked about her alternate costumes and all that is going to be listed, as well as the name of the episodes if you want to see certain costumes or check out certain episodes for Roxy Spotlight for season 4. Now we're going to get into the final part, which is the moveset. And what I wanted to do for Roxy is try to make her really strong and utilize some of her powers from watching her grow in season 4 and what she does and how she was able to attain her ability, and her abilities. And I wanted to also include R2, which is, I think his name is Arthur, but she calls him R2, but it's just some kind of I guess it's some kind of nickname. But R2 has his own powers and his own unique abilities. He's a brave dog. Why not include R2 a part of Roxy's moveset? So just to get this started for the moveset for this final portion of this premiere. So I want to just use an example. I want to just bring up the training because I don't want to play a match, so I can just be able to close it out quickly. So let's go into the dojo. So let's just go to the training arena. Or you know what? Let's go to Rocco's house for hardcore shoulders. So let's have on. Who else got it? Let's have on battle. I don't even know who to bring in. Let's have him bring out an evil Rocco. How about that? So I turned off the announcer. I turned off the sound effects, things like that. I want to just use this for example. And Jimmy Neutron also has Goddard as well, but I wanted to bring up Rocco because I haven't even used him yet. I used Jimmy Neutron for something else. So let's just bring this up just for example. Since Rocco's not going to attack since he's on level 0. But with Rocco, he can bring out Spunky and he can give him different directions and different commands, so he can tell him different things. I wanted to do something like this. This is where I got the inspiration to use R2. He can bring out Rocco and give him different commands and tell him to go in different directions. But with R2, he's going to be AI controlled. So this first move to start this off, let's go R2. So R2 is Roxy's loyal pet that you guys will be able to see and get to know throughout season 4. Roxy's loyal dog R2 plays a special role and is always there for Roxy in the show. And I think having R2 on the battlefield is going to make Roxy even more dangerous, so you'll have to keep an eye on Roxy and R2 on the battlefield. Since this time, see how it's AI control? I'm not controlling Spunky, I'm just pressing one button, which is the neutral special, to bring him back and forth. So R2's moves that we're going to get into for this moveset, Roxy can send out her dog R2 running across the screen. See how Rocco sends out Spunky? She can send out R2. I was going to send out Rocco. R2 rushes forward in a straight line, and if he makes contact with an opponent, he'll bite them before running back to her side. This can be charged to make him faster and deal more damage. So if fully charged, see Spunky doesn't have anything else. He just comes out and that's it. He'll just charge at him and that's it. So I wanted to make something a little bit different. Just open up the moveset for me. So he's part of the moveset clean level. He's on the broom, of course. But Spunky's not really involved like that. Here he is. So let's just have this up on the screen. I wanted to just use this as an example because we're talking about R2, another pet dog. So he's gonna, if you charge up on R2 when he's charged, he's gonna move faster and deal more damage. So when he's fully charged, he'll be able to tackle enemies, knocking them away to protect Roxy. So another ability that I wanted to give R2 is just the loyal pet. Otherwise, he protects her. He looks out for her in the show throughout season 4. So in this next move and this technique, Guardian R2. R2 will act as a shield for Roxy, absorbing a certain amount of damage or blocking a single hit from an opponent or a projectile. So after a certain amount of damage, R2 is going to disappear for a while before he can be summoned again, so that way they have that proper balance. But he's already going to be active. He's going to start getting active on the field once the battle starts, because once you play as Roxy, you're going to really be able to have control of R2. But he's going to be AI control, but he's going to be an issue on the battlefield, and he's going to be a distraction, so you want to be able to watch out for him. And then with this Guardian Arc 2, see how he has this command. You press the neutral button to bring out Spunky. You can have the developers can probably have a give the player a button prompt, so you can be able to have R2 come to the rescue to block that incoming hit or that projectile, or be a distraction for the player to really try to deal with him. So while you still playing as Roxy, R2 can still be able to come to your aid and come to your rescue to really start being able to absorb some of the damage. So just to see this, he sends out Spiky, who bites any opponent in his way. You can grab Spunky and redirect him to your throws. See, that's the other thing I almost forgot about. You can be able to pick him up and throw him. But R2 is going to be something a little bit more different than Spunky, and he's going to be a protector, and he's going to be able to absorb some hits to really protect. But Spunky's not going to have that feature because he doesn't have that in this game. So I wanted to make him way more special and a little bit more iconic than Spunky and Goddard from this game. So this was just an example that I wanted to just bring up. So I just didn't want to just leave it out on this. So he's not really involved like that. So you see how you can just grab him, spin him, throw him. He could be a projectile. But R2 is going to be something of his own, so he's not going to really be like Spunky. So he's going to have his own little special abilities and his own action, and really be able to take advantage and be able to get involved. So that's R2's abilities, and I wanted to just start with him first. So now we're just going to wrap up with Roxy. What can Roxy do with her fairy magic and her abilities? So she has different abilities that stand out, that's way different from the avatars, from Korra and Aang, and Azula and things like that, and Zuko from the Fire Nation. So her move, to get into Roxy's moveset, because we were talking about R2, Fairy Burst. Roxy creates a burst of magical light from her hands that can hit multiple times and can deal damage to nearby opponents for a basic attack. This was inspired from Zelda, because Zelda has powers of her own for those light powers and those magical powers from her hand. She can have that as her basic attack, almost similar to what Zelda does in Super Smash Bros. And it can hit you a few times, and it's gonna hit multiple times, and it can deal damage to nearby opponents for a basic attack. Psychic Projection, which is a projectile attack that I decided to get Roxy. She's going to be able to create a wave of green psychic energy from her temples forward, and if the wave hits an opponent, a swarm of special rats can appear and chase multiple enemies at once. So if you're dealing with multiple enemies on the field, those rats are going to be hunting you down. And just like I just doing it, just show it with Rocco, he can bring out Spunky. But this psychic projection that she does, she did this to Argon. She did this on Argon, I believe his name was, in the show when she first developed her powers. Because she said her powers are weak compared to his, but she has the power of the animals on her side, and she actually uses this psychic projection to really summon the rats and to attack Argon, who is one of the members of the Wizards of the Black Circle that you guys can see in season 4 when she first gets her transformation into a fairy. Her next move is Magic Convergence, and the Winx Club all have this ability. The Magic Convergence is a technique where the fairies are able to put together creating a barrier that not only blocks incoming projectiles, but this move can also be able to reflect the projectiles or any sort of energy waves or energy attacks right back at the opponent. So the Magic Convergence is where Roxy's going to have a glowing green barrier that will not only block incoming projectiles, but it's going to reflect them back to the opponent. And a character like El Tigre does that in this game with his neutral special. El Tigre has his own projectile reflection move, for example, that's already in existence in his move kit or his move pool in Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. So that's where I got inspiration from that, but it's actually something that they do in the show against their enemies and during their battles with the Wizards of the Black Circle in season 4. And throughout the show, you'll also be able to see the Winx do this. So that's the magic convergence technique. So Animal Kingdom magic to close out her moves and finish her moveset. The Great Wolf of the Forest of Magics. So the Animal Kingdom magic is going to contain different abilities relying on the animals and having these different animals come to her aid and have these different techniques, and she can borrow the power of these animals, and that's what she's going to do with the Great Wolf of the Forest of Magics. Roxy is connected to the Animal Kingdom, so she can unleash the Great Wolf of the Forest, summoning a massive spectral wolf that charges forward to pounce on her opponents, or she can also be able to cast it into the wolf's talent that you guys can also see her use in the show for her own surprise additional projectile. Butterfly Swarm, where Roxy sends a flock of butterflies that can stun her opponents. So speaking of stunning opponents, Ember has a move where she can stun opponents when she plays a certain note on her guitar, but you have to be really close for her to really be able to hit you with it to stun you. So it can work something similar to that, something like that, but this is going to be a long range technique and a long range ability where these flock of butterflies are going to be able to swarm any opponent, and she can really be able to start dealing additional damage. So if she stuns you with the butterfly swarm, R2 can also attack you, and she can also be able to launch her own technique with the wolf talent or with the power of the Great Wolf of the Forest of Magics. She can really be able to bring that out as well, that special wolf, to really be able to rack up additional damage and knock you out. Scorpion's Tail is another ability from Roxy from the show that I also included that she does with her powers. Roxy can use the magic. I had a typo. Roxy can use the magic where she can send out blue and purple light tether. This is a unique grab technique. So if it connects with an opponent, it will act as a long range grab, pulling them directly towards them or towards her. So then she'll also be able to combo this with her butterfly swarm. So if she stuns you from a long range, she can then bring out her Scorpion's Tail magic. She can also cast her Scorpion's Tail to pull you closer and start being able to get some good damage on you. So the butterfly swarm with the Scorpion's Tail is a good combo that I wanted to come up with. So being able to get stunned, and then she could pull you right in, so she doesn't have to go all the way across the whole map if she's fighting on a bigger stage. So her recovery move with some of these characters that can fly on these stages, because some of these stages are a lot bigger than others, like Jimmy Neutron's lab, and they're spaced out in comparison to Trevorton's Joyride, and then the newest stage that they added for these. You got a lot more wiggle room and more places that you can run to, like the Loud House Castle. The Loud Castle is a bigger stage where you have more places to run to and more space. So it's going to really be handy. The teleport wings is something, I didn't want to just give her flight. Well, she could just fly and that'll be it for her recovery. I wanted to do something a little bit more unique. The teleport wings is something that the Winx Club use in the show to get from one place to another, and they can go to a different location. So the teleport wings is going to be Roxy's recovery move. So this is the ability straight from the show, just like I mentioned, and this could be a great recovery move for her. So Roxy spins and disappears in a burst of green light and sparkles, instantly reappearing on the stage. So the player will be able to select the location they want to go to, but the opponent will have to guess where she'll appear. So what I'm trying to say is, when you want to go to like a stage like the Loud Castle, for example, see this? For example, see at the top of the tower, you can teleport with her. You can use her teleport wings to get to the top of the castle where Lincoln Loud is in the background. You can use her teleport wings to get to that location, but your opponent's not going to know where you're going to be. So that's going to make Roxy's recovery very tricky. So only the player will be able to see where Roxy's going to be at. So you'll really have to look at your opponent's screen to see where they're going to go. But fighting them one-on-one, you will have to find out and be able to guess where she's going to be and where she's going to appear, so she'll be able to get the drop on you. And it's a good move for her to really be able to play keep away, so just before she's going to get knocked out, she can get to a different location with her teleport wings, because this is how the ability works in the actual show. Being able to see the Winx Club, be able to go beyond, get to a distant or a long distant location, or into a location that's outside of the area that they're in. So it's just going to be one of the best recoveries that they can use. The teleport wings is something I would love to see her have, and not even just being able having to guess where she's going to appear. This will be a fast recovery move, making it difficult for opponents to predict where she's going. So smaller stages, that's why I wanted to bring the stages up here again. Smaller stages like the Train Merchant Joyride, the Timeless Star Dial, and if you're playing on these kind of stages, that's a little bit short, like the training stage, Train Merchant, just like I mentioned, and then the Full Dream from Garfield, Urkin Armada, and more. These kind of stages, she's not going to really have too many places to go, so you'll be able to get right after her as soon as she appears. So the one thing I wanted to do to make this fair is that as soon as she appears, she's not going to be able to attack right away. She has to fully appear, so you have time to get to her. So she's going to be wide open and vulnerable for an attack. So her super, to close this out, for her super move, because each character in this game, they have, whoops, almost went into the arcade. Each character in this game has their own unique ultimates, or their super attacks, which they're called in this game. They all have their own unique super attacks, and they have to hit you and with it successfully. But I hope to see in the next game where you don't have to really successfully hit the opponent with the super or the ultimate attack. You can be able to activate it and they transform, like Aang and Korra can do for their avatar state. They can go into the super form and really be able to go crazy, and it really feels like an ultimate, and you can have control of. So the ultimate attack that I gave her is called the Animal Kingdom's Fury. So Roxy raises her hand and cries out, "Creatures of the forest and sky, come to me." You can see this and hear her say this when she has the possession of the white circle in season 4. Where you guys really see her when she's able to accept her, when she starts accepting her destiny as a fairy. You'll really see her say this in the show when she possesses the white circle and everybody's watching her evolve and maintain all of this power. So she could say that as a nice iconic quote from the show. And the animation for this, the screen can darken and a flash of green light fills the area. A massive ghostly stampede of powerful enemies, or powerful enemy animals, including bears, bulls, tigers, and wolves, surges across the stage, completely overwhelming any opponent that's in the path. So it can be like this giant stampede of animals that they can summon. And maybe someone out there will probably end up picking this up. King DDD, King Triple D from Kirby, because he brings out the Waddle Dees and all the different summoning. It could be something like that. It can be something similar to King DDD for his final smash in Super Smash Bros. But it's going to be a lot different for Roxy, because all those different animals are going to be taking over the field, and they're going to be spawning in, and they're going to overwhelm the opponent. So you're not going to be able to escape. You're not going to be able to dodge them all. Nigel Thornberry would probably take fascinated. He'll be interested in all these different animals, because they're going to be all over the stage, and it's just going to be so many different animals swarming the field. In a battlefield, you're not going to really be able to move. So you'll probably just be able to get away with maybe with Jenny, but you're not. How long can you stay in the air? You can't stay in the air forever. You're just going to have to come down, and this is going to be all types of different animals that's airborne, like hawks and eagles that can get out, and birds and stuff like that, that could be able to attack anybody that's airborne, and they're going to automatically target you. So if Roxy is fighting more than one opponent on the field, they're going to target as many players as possible, as many opponents as possible. So not everyone's going to be safe. Everybody's going to be able to get hit from and suffer the wrath, face the wrath of the Animal Kingdom. So I think that'll be the best ultimate that can fit her, and I definitely wish that this character had more of a story. It's just unfortunate because she was limited in season 4, and for the upcoming seasons from season 5 through 8, she's just a support character. She's not going to really get that spotlight. She doesn't get the spotlight. She's just on the sideline. And this is what I was just talking about from earlier. What was the point of even building this character up and trying to give her some kind of a shine to make her a formidable member of the Winx Club? And they made her seem so important, but they just kicked her to the sideline. She didn't really get the spotlight. It's not about Roxy, but she still has the potential to get a bigger spotlight outside of just season 4 because of her power, her potential. She wasn't even able to realize her potential whatsoever. She was just able to tap into a little bit of a glimpse. We only got a little bit of a glimpse of this character. When you go and watch this, you can check it out if you want. It's free. You only get a glimpse of this character to really see her shine, tap into her power, to believe in herself and stop being scared. She decides to come out and fight the wizards of the wizards of the Black Circle, because they've been hunting her down and they're trying to use her to destroy the fairies. She managed to really evolve and stand up and become one of the best characters from this show. People wanted to see more of this character. She didn't really get a chance to get that spotlight, unfortunately, and that's why I wanted to bring this out, so people can know her story and be able to find out about this character, which was my main goal, while also making her powerful, which she is. She can definitely give Aang a problem. She could probably end up destroying Danny Phantom. That's just how strong she is. So she has a good chance to get picked up and be able to get a spotlight. And I would like her to join alongside of Bloom, because that's just how strong she is and how everybody was so surprised to see her grow. She started to believe in herself. She started to really fight for herself, and she had her own unique power. She was the key. They needed her. So if she decided to side with the wizards of the Black Forest, and I said the Black Forest, the wizards of the Black Circle, it will probably be over for the Winx. I don't even think Bloom will probably even cease to exist, because this is how strong this character is. So I would like to see her get more, but it's too late now. The show is over. It's 8 seasons. She's just a supporting character. She just didn't get that spotlight. So it's just sad to see that. And that's something that I just don't like about some of these characters with any of these shows. It's not just about Winx Club. Some of these characters they come out, they exist. What's the point of creating them? What's the point of creating the story? You wasted all that time putting such a phenomenal character together that's loved by the fans, that's beloved by the fans that wanted to see more, just to kick them to the side and just shove them and throw them under the bus. I don't think that's just gonna affect the show, and people lose interest that way, because you killed off a character in a way that they could have gotten a chance to get a spotlight to really show themselves as a fighter. That's what I'm talking about. So I think this is something that they could probably do for other future games. They can add this character in. Maybe Bloom might end up getting picked up. Nothing against Bloom. She's strong. This is her show. This is her main. She's the main character. She's the star of the show, holding the reins. So I want to see, hopefully, other characters like Roxy have a chance to get it into the roster, hopefully at some point. But we're just going to have to see what happens going forward. But I definitely had a lot of fun putting this request together, and more I knew it was going to drag on. But it's just such a big deal. Even being in only one season to really be able to shine and being able to fight, she wasn't really involved in this like that. So that's just the end of her story. And that's all they're going to end up doing with this character. I don't even know what they're going to be doing next, because I don't know if they rebooted the series. I don't know what's going on. But let me know what you guys think. I definitely had a lot of fun putting this together. And I'm going to put her moveset and all the ideas and her animations and everything like that in the description and in the pinned comment, so people can read through just in case. So this will definitely have timestamps, but this is everything about her story and just what happened to her. It's just unfortunate. So it's just, I would have wanted to see more of this character, and because I got interested in seeing her being able to fully grow and unlock those other transformations like the other Winx Club. She just didn't get that far.